Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be doing this Beetlejuice sort of inspired eye makeup look. This is going to be the first look within my Halloween series where I'm going to be doing different eye looks for Halloween. Whether you want to wear a costume, whether you just want to do makeup, but it's going to be eyeshadow looks, eyeliner looks, just really anything. But if you want to see how to get this Beetlejuice look right here, then just keep on watching. Okay, so for this look, I'm going to be doing a sort of Beetlejuice inspired look. So I want to use a really nice light base. That way the colors really pop. So for that, I'm going to take my Juvias Place Eye Primer in the shade 1. So for that, I'm just going to apply a good amount of that all over the lid. I'm really getting this inner corner as well as kind of further out here on the outer corner. I'm going to do my best to take it up to the brow as well without covering up the brow. Okay, now you can see that the eyeshadow primer is all over my lid. I'm going to start out by doing my darker colors first. If you guys watch my videos, you know I typically do lightest to darkest, but for this look, I really want it to be very opaque and vibrant. For the eyeshadows, I'm going to be going in with my Glamlite and Mikayla palette. You can use anything that has these type of shades in it, but I really like the tones of the purples in this palette. So I'm going to be using kind of this range right here. I'm going to start out with the shade Frisky. And for this, I'm going to take a Sigma E30 pencil brush. And I'm going to start applying this directly in my crease where I'm going to want that cut crease to sit. I'm not worried about it being perfect. I'm just doing pressing motion so it doesn't get all over my face. However, I haven't done my foundation or concealer or anything, so we can easily clean up if we need to. I'm just going in with a little bit more. The more opaque, the better. I'm going to take it all the way to the inner corner, stopping about there, and then I'm kind of looking forward and seeing where all of that is sitting. Next, I'm taking the shade Part 2, and with a Sigma E42 brush, the shade's a little bit lighter, I'm going to kind of pack and overlap where I put that darkest color. Just taking my time with this. It's going to look crazy, I promise. I'm trying not to get out of view when I do this. Going in with a little bit more and packing that on top. Blend everything out. I'm going to take the shade MJ, and with a Sigma E36 brush, I'm going to start blending everything out. This will take a little bit of time because we did go straight in with those dark colors. I'm using this brush first because I have a little bit more control where it is so small, but I'll switch to a bigger brush if I need to. So I'm just going right along the edge of that Part 2 shade. I'm diffusing up to the brow. I'm going to really make sure to get that inner corner so it's nice and softened. Now with a little bit more product, I'm going to start here on this outer corner. So you can see I'm kind of overlapping with the previous color first, and then I'm blending upwards. That way the pigment kind of starts here and then fades up. I will say Glamlite has a really, really good formulation of their eyeshadows. So you can see that blend starting to happen. Don't worry about losing some of that darkness because we will go in and touch it up. Okay, so I feel good about that light color. I am going to go back in with the purples because we want this look to be more purple and not that sort of periwinkle color. So I'm going to go back in with that shade Part 2. And that smaller brush, this was the E42, and I'm going to start to diffuse that down. So bringing back that purple, as you can see. I'm just doing very, very light pressure for this too. If at any point you want to blend that out, just go back in with your last brush. That way you don't bring that dark color up really high. I'm just going to look over here into my up-close mirror so I can see what I'm doing. And now with that shade Frisky and that pencil brush, I'm going to re-intensify that crease. I might add a black in there, I'm not sure yet. We'll kind of see how it turns out. I'm really packing this one on because I want it really dark at this crease area. I'm gonna go ahead and pack that color on the outer corner to connect it as well. But I do know I'm gonna put a black down here. I'm not worried about the creasing on my lid because we are going to clean it up and do a cut crease anyways. You can see I'm just kind of packing on. Again, I do not care about fallout right now. Okay, now I'm going in with a Morphe V300 brush and some micellar water. I'm going to start cleaning up where I want that cut crease. I want the green to be very vibrant and not mix with the purple, which is why I'm cleaning it up. It doesn't have to be perfect because we are going to go back in with that eye primer. But just get as much as you can. Okay, once you get that as cleaned up as you can with a micellar water or makeup wipe or whatever you want to use, I'm going to go back in with that Juvia's Place eye primer and really carve this out. You want to make this as clean as you possibly can. I suggest getting really close up to a mirror. So I'm basically just going to do this motion, but I'm going to get in my mirror so it is perfect. Okay, once you get the actual line as sharp as you can, I am just going to fade it down into the lid. Again, this doesn't have to be perfect. And then when it comes to the outer corner, you can just kind of tap it to blend it with those eyeshadows. But again, we're going to touch it all up, so it doesn't really matter what this looks like. Okay, we're going to do a green on the lid, and I'm kind of just looking through my palettes to see what I want to use. And I think I'm going to take the shade Tinkers from the Morphe and Abby Roberts palette, but again, use what you have. And then I have this really old glitter. I might use the glitter. I might leave it matte. I'm not really sure. If I decide to use it, this is from BH Cosmetics. It is extremely old, like very, very old, in the shade Lime Green, but again, anything will work. I'm going in with a tiny shading brush. This is a MAC 228, and I'm going to really, really pack this on. Again, I'm not worrying about fallout at all. And you want to be really careful because you do still want to make sure that line is nice and sharp. So I'm going to do that in my mirror. But I'm just going to use the same brush and do stamping motions along that edge. Okay, so here's how that's looking right now. I might do the glitter after the liner. I'm not really sure. But now we're going to deal with this outer corner area. So I'm first taking that shade Part 2 and I'm packing that on the outer corner to kind of blend it in with the green. You definitely want to do patting motions with this because I don't want to fling the purple onto the green. And if you just keep going like back and forth between the two shades, they will eventually blend out. Okay, I'm going to leave it at that because if I go too much in between the purple and the green, they will get muddy and kind of form a brown, so I'm happy with this. And now that dark purple frisky shade, I'm going to put this closer to the outer corner and very lightly pat that into Part 2. And now with a tiny little pencil brush, I'm going to take the black from that Abby Roberts palette and I'm going to put this on the very outer corner and kind of in this little V shape. I'm going to bring it up a little bit higher because a lot of this will be covered with liner. I want to make sure I can still see this. So I'm just kind of patting it. Again, you don't want to swipe because I don't want to fling black all over the place. But this is a Halloween look, so the darker the better. Okay, and now I'm going to go in with that pencil brush that we used for the dark purple and pat that to blend. Pat, pat, pat. If you feel like that black's getting up too high, like mine kind of is right there, I'm going in and patting with the brush we used for Part 2, which was that mid-tone purple. And then just diffuse all of the edges. Make sure everything is nice and seamless. Okay, the next part can make or break this entire look, but this is the most crucial part of this entire look. We are going to do the black and white striped wing liner. However, if I try and go in with a white over top of all of this stuff right here, it's going to get very, very muddy. So I'm going to use that micellar water and kind of sketch out where I'm going to place the liner just to remove that product. I'm going to have to get really close up to my mirror for this, so sorry if it gets in the viewfinder. But I'm just using an angled brush. This one is by Sigma, I believe. I'm just kind of sketching over where you're going to do that liner. And the liner, we want it to be thicker because we want to be able to see the stripes. I'm just kind of removing as much as I can. And now with a pointed Q-tip, I'm going to clean that up. Again, it doesn't have to be perfect because we're still going to do the actual liner, but this is just going to help it be a white liner and not, you know, purpley or green or whatever the colors I'll make mixed together. So typically when I do this step, I use Vaseline and then remove it because it kind of stays where I put it. As you can see, the micellar water kind of drifted up, so it's kind of discoloring that green. I'm going to let it dry and then reapply the green and it'll fix it all. Okay, so I don't recommend the micellar water. It started to make things a little bit weird after I already had the shadow on, but it's okay. I'm going to go in with a white liner now. This one is by Stila. It's their white one, but you can use, again, whatever you have. And I'm going to get way up in my mirror. I'm going to do a pretty thick liner. I'm also not going to speak. Okay, so that's my like rough guide, but I need to get really close up to my mirror to perfect it. And then I'm going to let it dry and do another layer. That way it's a very opaque white. Okay, now that we have the white liner and it is dried, I'm going to go in and do the black stripes very, very carefully. I'm using my KVD Tattoo Liner and Trooper. Again, I'm not going to be able to talk for this. But I'm pretty much going to be doing that all around. Okay, so I'm going to do that all the way across. Okay, so here is how this is looking. It was very tedious. They're not perfect little stripes, but nobody's going to be that close to my face to see anyways. But I am loving this, and I'm debating on the glitter. I think I should add just a little bit maybe. Okay, so I'm going to take my NYX glitter glue. Okay, I'm not going to add a lot, so I'm taking that glue on a tiny little pencil brush. I'm going to go along that edge very lightly. You can see where it kind of darkened. I'm just going to put the glitter there. And I'm just going to press lightly. Oh yeah, I think that's a good decision. Just going to press. Okay, I'm going to leave it at that. I don't want to do glitter everywhere because I don't want it to compete with the liner, but I like that. Okay, so I did mascara and concealer. Now I'm putting a black liner in my waterline. This is MAC Feline Eye Kohl. It's a nice smudgy one. I'm also putting that kind of at the lashes so we can blend it out. And then with a clean pencil brush, I'm just going to buff those edges out and kind of drag it down. Okay, so now I'm going to overlap that shade with the shade Part 2 from the Mikayla palette. I'm just using patting motions. And then with that E36 brush and that shade MJ, which was the lightest purple, I'm going to buff that down. Again, this is Halloween, so we're going to take it kind of far down, but you don't have to do this. And then with an E15 flat definer brush and that darkest purple, I'm going to pack that on the outer half right at the lash line. And then I'm going to do that same thing with the black, but I'm going to do it right on that outer third. Try not to overlap with the liner. I would suggest doing this before you set your concealer. That way if you have to touch it up, you can. The purple got down a little bit too far from fallout, so I'm just going to blend that in with my concealer. I'm just going to do a matte white on the inner corner. This is from the Abby Roberts palette. I'm going to wipe off my brush and kind of pat that up into the green. So it's going to make a very vibrant light green right through here. Okay, so I'm going to go pop on some lashes and bottom lash mascara, and then I'll come back and show you the completed look. And here is the entire look completed. I just popped on my House of Lashes Allura Lite lashes because they're not as thick and dramatic, and I didn't want to cover up that wing liner that we did. And yeah, I hope you guys like it. If there's any other looks that you want to see from me for Halloween, just comment them down below, and I will see you in my next one.